He spoke and then directly returned to the large flying boat nearby. The Lord of Huyang City and Commander Moli Xiao looked at each other, only able to temporarily dissipate this divine power incarnation. Inside the flying boat, the three-eyed man, with an indifferent expression, sent a telepathic order: proceed with the plan. Yes. Thousands of large flying boats and numerous super-large mechanical treasures moved at once, their might terrifying. Sect leader, I had felt from the beginning that we should attack the city owner's mansion with the force of thunder, an elder communicated telepathically, each of the 18 elders already controlling a super-large legion mechanical treasure. A large city has been built over endless years. The most central part is the city owner's mansion. It's not so easy to conquer, said the three-eyed man. Even if we conquer it, I fear the Heart Shadow sect will also suffer some casualties. Our opponent in this great battle is not the more than 100 eternal true gods from the 5 great families of the city owner's mansion at this moment, but rather the large armies under the Marquis of Zhujiang. What the sect leader said is wise, another elder agreed. We must conserve enough strong forces. The stronger our forces, the more the Marquis Liu Yin will rely on us. And if we are significantly weakened in the fight with the large army of Marquis Zhujiang, our position under Marquis Liu Yin will also be lowered. Exactly. The three-eyed man continued, the strongest army in Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture is not in Huyang City, but in Zhujiang City. Moreover, Marquis Zhujiang might also call upon some powerful eternal true gods from other parts of Yu Kingdom. Thus, we must act cautiously. Sect leader, a cold voice came. War, sometimes, requires a thunderous strike, instilling fear in them. Sufficient deterrence is needed to make the armies under Marquis Zhujiang truly wary. You may not want the sect's disciples to suffer too many casualties, but when vying for our sect's foundation, we cannot be tender-hearted and soft-handed. Our Heart Shadow sect has reached this stage, we must be cautious and united at every step. The three-eyed man expressed his headache over the strongest elder Heart Eye, who did not share his view. I am just speaking privately to the sect leader, said Elder Heart Eye, clearly disagreeing with the sect leader. Given his temperament, he would have destroyed the city owner's mansion at the first chance, willing to bear some casualties to completely occupy Huyang City first. If Marquis Zhujiang dared send a large army, then slaughter. Slaughter until Marquis Zhujiang hesitates, slaughter until Marquis Zhujiang feels the pain. As for the casualties of sect disciples, for the future of the sect, it's all worth it. Since the 2 venerable ancestors stand with the sect leader, it's fine. This Feng Yuqi may be tender-hearted and soft-handed, but he is also wholeheartedly devoted to the sect. Elder Heart Eye, constrained by the instructions from 2 primal Chaos Realm ancestors, could only hold it in. Luo Feng, who was inside Dream Flower Tower, also received a continuous stream of messages. At this moment, every faction within Huyang City was somewhat panic-stricken, feeling that the entire city could face significant upheaval. Heart Shadow sect's large army has arrived at Huyang City, with 139 super-large legion mechanical treasures, with thousands of eternal true gods. Luo Feng was stunned as he heard this, and he immediately called to his servant nearby, Luo Sa, let's go out and take a look. Has something big happened? Morosa, still eating meat, reluctantly stopped to follow his master outward. Moyu Qingyang, Dream Flower Tower master, also went out together. Whoosh! Soaring into the sky, Luo Feng looked from afar and, despite the Huyang City formation's influence, could still see through the air and spy on the thousands of flying boats and numerous super-large legion mechanical treasures of the Heart Shadow sect. Impressive force, Luo Feng admired. Worthy of a sect established by a godly king, decayed to this day, it remains so formidable. The Heart Shadow sect is a standard godly king sect. At its peak, it was also regarded as a significant power with countless disciples. The Duandong River lineage, perhaps the ancestors found training disciples too troublesome, since it was transmitted from one to the next, with the previous Duandong River dying in the universe ocean. Fortunately, Luo Feng succeeded and continued the lineage, becoming the 193rd Duandong River. Heart Shadow sect has come. Huyang City is likely to undergo a significant change. The Dream Flower Tower master was somewhat anxious. Their first target would also be the city owner's mansion. Luo Feng observed from a distance when suddenly his expression changed. This is bad. Master, what's the matter? Morosa asked, and Moyu Qingyang, along with Dream Flower Tower Master, were also puzzled. The Heart Shadow Sect's army is heading straight for the center of Huyang City, and they're currently invading the Primal Chaos Armor Sector's cave mansions, Luo Feng said urgently. Come on, let's hurry back. Don't let them occupy my cave mansion. Occupying cave mansions? Morosa was startled. Immediately, Luo Feng, along with Morosa and Moyu Qingyang, boarded the flying boat and traveled through the void towards his own cave mansion. Within the bounds of Huyang City, traveling short distances through the void was not a difficult task for Luo Feng. At this moment, the entire city owner's mansion at the center of Huyang City was in chaos. The elites of the 5 great families had already retreated to the city owner's mansion. The Heart Shadow Sect is attacking? Mo Li Feiyun and Zhirong Qi were among the hustling core group of the 5 great families. The sisters looked outside, only aware of the dire situation. Father, senior brother Gaowu and the others are preparing for battle, Mo Li Feiyun said, worried. Don't worry, the city owner's mansion is not so easily conquered, Zhirong Qi reassured. At this moment, the elite of the 5 great families, including the Huyang Legion and Huyang Guards, had mostly retreated to the city owner's mansion, with only a few still garrisoning the 3 major sacred areas. The Heart Shadow Sect claimed they were looking for a foothold, yet now they are headed straight for the city owner's mansion, an old man with white hair observed from afar. Is a battle about to start? The clan leader of the Meiwu clan said worriedly. All we can do now is face it, the Lord of Huyang City declared. As branches of great families, they came to Huyang City to lead comfortable lives. Who would want to fight to the death? Yet, entangled in a conflict between 2 nations, they dared not surrender. On the side of the city owner's mansion, whether it was the direct descendants of the 5 great families who were eternal true gods or the numerous vassal eternal true gods, there were only about 100 eternal true gods in total. Even with the unique advantages of the city owner's mansion, whether they could hold it was uncertain. The Lord of Huyang City, Commander Mo Li Xiao, and others looked on from afar, only to see the troops of Heart Shadow Sect moving decisively towards the cave mansions in the neighboring Primal Chaos Armor Sector. This cave mansion now belongs to the Heart Shadow Sect. Move out quickly. This cave mansion, we, the Heart Shadow Sect, claim it. One after another, the cave mansions were directly occupied. Among them, the cave mansion belonging to the Zhu clan covered a vast area, ranking among the top few super-large cave mansions in the Primal Chaos Armor Sector, much larger than Luo Feng's smaller cave mansion. Originally, it was formed by purchasing multiple cave mansions together. Esteemed members of the Heart Shadow Sect, this is the ancestral land of the Zhu clan, the clan leader Zhu who personally stepped forward, followed by 5 eternal true gods who were quite pleasing and respectful. My Zhu clan is willing to offer treasures in exchange for preserving our ancestral land. What of the ancestral land? Suddenly, a massive golden eye descended, its voice thunderous. The giant golden eye fixed on Zhu who, causing him to tremble with fear, he felt a threat of death. Move out quickly, or none of the Zhu clan will be spared, the massive golden eye declared. And about your so-called offering of treasures? Let me see them. If the treasures are not precious enough, you don't need to move out. Just die here instead. The frail old Zhu whose face, marked with green secret patterns, twisted. Behind him, the 5 eternal true gods of his clan felt somewhat desperate. Fine, we will move out immediately, Zhu who could only endure, not daring to resist in the slightest, while also obediently offering the treasures. Whose cave mansion is that? A super-large Legion mechanical treasure looked towards Luo Feng's smaller cave mansion. Master Uncle, that is the cave mansion of Lord Luo He, a disciple reported. Lord Luo He of the River God? The super-large Legion mechanical treasure observed the inconspicuous small cave mansion with a bit of wariness. Uncle Master, the sect leader has long since ordered that Lord Luo his cave mansion must not be touched, a disciple said. I know. Though the Heart Shadow Sect's army seemed to march with unstoppable force, wantonly seizing one cave mansion after another. Before they left the She Kingdom, they had thoroughly investigated the details of Huyang City. They were crystal clear about the owner of every cave mansion in the Primal Chaos Armor sector. Cave Mansion number 913 of the Primal Chaos Armor had long been marked on their list as one not to be seized. I am the Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master of the Huyang City branch. You want to seize my cave mansion? The Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master, with a huge solitary eye, rebuked the disciples of the Heart Shadow sect who descended upon the place. A super-large mechanical treasure patrolling high in the sky immediately turned its attention towards him, and a cold voice rang out, "Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master of the Huyang City branch, if you don't want to die, scram quickly." The Cloud Treasure Pavilion Master looked up, locked eyes with the super-large mechanical treasure, and involuntarily trembled, only to reluctantly lower his head. "Fine, I'll move." With a wave of his hand, he quickly gathered some commonly used items from within the cave mansion and took 2 old servants with him before leaving indifferently. The rest of his subordinates were also scared and quickly fled the cave mansion. I am Vice Chairman Cho Shi-san of the Qiansha Commerce Association's Huyang City branch. A stern-looking elder surveyed his surroundings. "Are you even going to seize my cave mansion?" Vice Chairman Cho. A super-large plant lifeform slowly descended, its voice much gentler. "Please don't make it difficult for us. If you continue to live here, once war breaks out, you will also be easily affected, don't you agree?" The stern-looking elder eyed the other party. In terms of background, within Huyang City, the only one that surpassed Qiansha Commerce Association was the exceedingly aloof Flamewind Pavilion. "We will not disrupt the business of the Qiansha Commerce Association, but your eternal true gods at the Qiansha Commerce Association should not get involved in this war either," the super-large plant lifeform continued to persuade patiently. The stern-looking elder understood that if the branch of the Commerce Association were to be destroyed, headquarters might be enraged. But the seizure of cave mansions belonging to their eternal true gods would be considered trivial, not even worthy of being reported to headquarters. The Qiansha Commerce Association's business spreads across numerous kingdoms. A branch in a large city is very inconspicuous. Moreover, the godly kings backing the Qiansha Commerce Association were also unwilling to get involved in the dispute between the Shi Kingdom and Yu Kingdom easily. "Fine, I'll move." The stern-looking elder could only swallow his pride. Luo Feng, carrying Morosa and Moyu Qingyang, quickly returned to his cave mansion. "Wow, it's quite lively here." Morosa stood atop the mountain, looking around at the surroundings, and with his strength, he could naturally see every cave mansion in the Primal Chaos Armor sector without being affected by the grand array of Huyang City. Heart Shadow sect is frantically seizing cave mansions. Luo Feng was also at the mountaintop with the leisure to look around, whether it's the local families, dark forces, or the divisions of major powers with a background. All the cave mansions in the Primal Chaos Armor sector have been taken. "Master, they haven't taken our cave mansion." Moyu Qingyang noted the massive flying boat and the super-large mechanical treasures in the distance, feeling quite tense. Morosa curled his lips. "Don't be impressed by their bluster, they're actually quite smart to know who not to provoke." "Don't boast, Heart Shadow sect is not an easy rival," Luo Feng said with a smile. The conflict between Marquis Liu Yin and Marquis of Zhujiang. There was no need for him to get involved. To him, growth was of the utmost importance. The 3 most ancient masters of the Shi Kingdom were his true enemies. Brother Luo He, the Lord of Huyang City, contacted Luo Feng using the transmission token. "City Lord, you're contacting me for a matter?" Luo Feng took out the transmission token with a flip of his hand. Brother Luo He must have seen it too, the sudden arrival of Heart Shadow sect in Huyang City. "They are too strong, and my city owner's mansion can't withstand them," the Lord of Huyang City communicated. "The Marquis will soon dispatch reinforcements, but what's imperative now is to defend the city owner's mansion." The city owner's mansion is the core of the entire Huyang City. The 3 forbidden lands are critical as they are tied to the grand array of Huyang City. But the city owner's mansion is truly the core of the supergigantic mechanical city of Huyang and can unleash terrifying power. Even if the Heart Shadow sect, with such strength, were to forcefully attack the city owner's mansion, it would result in some casualties. "City Lord, with my lone power, how could I possibly resist a vast sect like Heart Shadow sect?" Luo Feng communicated back, "I'm not strong enough." No eternal true God in Yu Kingdom has the power to resist the entire Heart Shadow sect alone. But if you come to the city owner's mansion, with your help, we will definitely be able to hold the city owner's mansion securely, the Lord of Huyang City communicated. To hide with you in the city owner's mansion? Luo Feng communicated, I'm just an independent eternal true God, really unwilling to get completely entangled in this. As an eternal true God, if I get involved in the strife between Marquis Liu Yin and Marquis of Zhujiang, who knows when I might die? You need not worry, the primal chaos overlord will not bully the weak during the conflict between two countries, the Lord of Huyang City communicated, as long as you are willing to help, any condition can be discussed. Any condition can be discussed? Luo Feng asked, how about 1 billion cosmic sand? Name your price to hire me, and I'm naturally willing to help. 1 billion cosmic sand? The Lord of Huyang City was somewhat startled. This Lord Luo, he was truly audacious. Such a vast fortune would surely make the primal chaos overlord flinch. Despite having a territory that ensured a steady income, the primal chaos overlord also needed to maintain a large number of subordinates, nurture the younger members of his clan, and spend on personal cultivation. They generally would not keep an excessive reserve of assets. It was fundamental to expend savings on enhancing one's own strength. Being able to carry several billion cosmic sand was already quite good. Some primal chaos overlords who lived hand to mouth, spending nearly all their income, would struggle to immediately produce even 1 billion cosmic sand. This price is not at all expensive, Luo Feng stated. I must report to the Marquis first. The Lord of Huyang City dared not agree on his own. The previous bounty for Divine Monarch Shuiyun was just 10 million cosmic sand. 30 to 50 million cosmic sand was enough to summon the strongest eternal true gods of the Yu Kingdom to join the battle, which was the normal going rate. Of course, it also depended on whether the other party had enough time and was willing to come. You go report to the Marquis first, Luo Feng said, then cut off the transmission. This price isn't high at all. My strength could be even stronger than the strongest eternal true gods of the Yu Kingdom, Luo Feng mused quietly. Of course, it was only slightly stronger. Although he possessed a perfect divine body, Luo Feng only planned to exert the strength close to the limit of the unlimited godly body. This conformed to normal logic. After all, there had been no cultivators with a perfect divine body in the land of origin before. If the strength he revealed totally exceeded the eternal true God domain, much stronger than the prodigies from the two great ancient countries, it would likely raise suspicions among some ancient beings. My strength must appear normal. It must align with logical normalcy, Luo Feng cautioned himself. He bore the hope of revenge from his mentor, the mountain-sitting guest, and carried the future of the human race. Inside his small universe alone, countless humans lived and procreated. He had to be careful, never careless with each step. Master, nearly all the cave mansions around have been taken over, Morosa observed the surroundings. Only the 5 great families' mansions and the masters remain. The Heart Shadow sect does act quite domineeringly. Marquis of Zhujiang won't just stand by and watch, Luo Feng said. In the original mansion of the Zhu clan, this location served as a temporary gathering place for the higher-ups of the Heart Shadow sect. The sect leader and the 18 elders congregated here. Sect leader, in the Primal Chaos Armor sector, only the mansions of the 5 great families and the small mansion of Lord Luo he remain, one elder spoke. Should we make a move on the mansions of the 5 great families? There's no hurry. The man with 3 eyes surveyed the elders. Right now we need to first appease the 2 major threats within Huyang City. One is the Flame Wind Pavilion, and the other is Lord Luo He. The 18 elders all listened. The Flame Wind Pavilion is established by a coalition of the strongest forces of the Flame Wind ancient country. No matter how the war unfolds, we must maintain respect for the Flame Wind Pavilion. We cannot give them any reason to intervene, the 3-eyed man said. Understood. We would be insane to provoke the Flame Wind Pavilion. All of the 18 elders were well aware that although the Flame Wind Pavilion did not interfere in the conflicts of other nations, it also did not tolerate provocation. Those who dared to provoke would face consequences far more terrible than provoking the great Saint Zhou Yuan. Having affronted great Saint Zhou Yuan before, Heart Shadow sect saw 3 of its primal chaos realm members, 1 dead, 2 fled, and the sect declined. Provoking the Flame Wind Pavilion would leave no escape. The master of the Sher Kingdom might personally take action, capturing them alive to present to the Flame Wind Pavilion for disposal. I will personally visit the Flame Wind Pavilion, the three-eyed man declared. The Flame Wind Pavilion has the most terrifying background within the city, and the strongest within the city is Lord Luo He. According to the plan, Elder Heart Eye will visit. Leave it to me, Elder Blind said calmly. Just as deep in their respective realms, Elder Blind's numerous inheritances were certainly much stronger than those of Divine Monarch Shui Yun. Remember, do not make enemies, the three-eyed man instructed Elder Blind. Don't worry, I know what to do, Elder Blind nodded. There was no choice. The other elders among the 18 elders simply didn't dare to visit Lord Luo He. They feared that a disagreement might lead to being killed by Lord Luo He. If they merely sent a divine power incarnation for the visit, it would seem disrespectful. Thus, sending Elder Heart Eye was the most appropriate. When Heart Shadow sect was at its peak, ruling over 3 primal chaos prefectures, Elder Heart Eye was the most powerful eternal true god. After the decline of the sect, Elder Heart Eye traveled and cultivated throughout the land of origin up to the present, accumulating even greater depth. Soon, Elder Blind, accompanied by 2 disciples, made a secret visit to the exterior of Luo Feng's cave mansion. Primal Chaos Armor Sector 913. Elder Blind looked at the mansion. 1 disciple beside him knocked on the door. As the knock resounded, an invisible fluctuation spread outward, and the disciple also spoke up, representative of the Heart Shadow sect, Elder Heart Eye has come to visit Lord Luo He. The door quickly opened. Moyu Qingyang smiled, my master has been awaiting you. Elder Blind looked up, sensing the terrifying presence not far from the mountain peak. Indeed, an unlimited godly body, Elder Blind could feel the immense and boundless aura, as if it were never-ending. Every time he faced an unlimited godly body, Elder Blind's emotions were complex. Coming from humble origins, he began his cultivation path through bloodline methods. Even though he later showed dazzling talent, his godly body was no match for the unlimited godly body. Even with Heart Shadow sect's nurturing and biased allocation of resources, and his bloodline becoming sufficiently mighty, it was still a notch below the unlimited godly body. It was quite rare for individuals like Yu Tianshu, who had bloodline-based godly bodies, to be comparable to unlimited godly bodies. What of the unlimited godly body? More than one with such a body has fallen to my hand. Elder Blind took a stride and, whoosh, was already at the mountain peak, with his 2 disciples swiftly following. Luo Feng sat in front of the pavilion at the mountain's summit, leisurely drinking, watching as a blind man with 2 disciples approached. Chem. Luo Feng could sense that the blind man's aura was restrained, the hidden boundless sharpness somewhat startling Luo Feng. His hidden boundless sharpness actually threatens my realm of life and death. The realm of life and death was Luo Feng's combination of 3 moves from his pathway of life and death in the primal chaos realm, forming an invisible domain. Elder Heart Eye, honored to meet Lord Luo He, Elder Blind spoke, his 2 disciples respectfully following suit. I have long heard of Elder Heart Eye's great name. Please have a seat, Luo Feng said with a smile. Qingyang, serve the wine. Elder Blind sat down, while his 2 disciples stood behind him. Moyu Qingyang personally served up fruit and fine wine. Please, Luo Feng said, holding up his wine glass. Elder Blind also poured himself a drink. 4 powerful cultivators, eyes could be trained to be very strong, but even blindness wouldn't affect their observation of their surroundings. Indeed, many cultivators do not even have eyes in their godly bodies or gaseous or liquid forms. Please, Elder Blind also raised his glass, and after drinking a cup, he smiled and said, before coming to Huyang City, I had already heard of the great name of Lord Luo He. General Yong Hu of Yu Kingdom's capital relied on the Huyang City's formation and still couldn't hold Divine Monarch Shui Yun. But, Lord Luo He, you managed to slay Yu Tianshu, Yu Tianyi, and the escaping Divine Monarch Shui Yun outside the city, all in one single night. Your strength is indeed above that of General Yong Hu. General Yong, who was only concerned about the civilians within the city and afraid of causing too many casualties, which is why he let Shui Yun escape, Luo Feng said. The battle between Yong Hu and Shui Yun at the Flame Wind Pavilion is available for sale to the public, Elder Blind said. Anyone can see that Shui Yun's strength is profoundly unfathomable, which makes us at Heart Shadow Sect admire Lord Luo He even more. The sect leader had already ordered that upon coming to Huyang City, we must not offend the Lord. The sect leader is too kind, Luo Feng said with a smile. Moyu Qingyang, who was standing by serving, pricked up his ears to listen carefully. Not offend the master? The Heart Shadow Sect surely fears the master. This time Heart Shadow Sect came to Huyang City to seek a place to survive, Elder Blind sighed. For a sect to survive, it's very difficult. Luo Feng was listening. For survival, our disciples of the Heart Shadow Sect are willing to spare no expense, Elder Blind said. I hope the Lord can understand the Heart Shadow Sect and not interfere with the matters here. Ha ha! Luo Feng laughed. I'm not an official of Yu Kingdom, nor am I from your Sha Kingdom. I'm just an independent cultivator, as to whom I help. Alas, we independent cultivators are all desperately fighting for resources. If there are enough resources to hire me, how could I refuse? Luo Feng understood what the other party meant. They hoped for Luo Feng's commitment not to interfere in the conflict in Huyang City. Enough resources to hire? Elder Blind asked, how much would it take to hire Lord Luo He? I treat all equally. Yu Kingdom has already given me quite a bit, and I haven't even agreed to help them, Luo Feng said. If Heart Shadow Sect wants to hire me, 2 billion cosmic sand will suffice. 2 billion cosmic sand? Elder Blind's face twitched. That's a bold price. Watching from the side, Luo Feng remembered that the monarch of Yu country had gifted him a leaf from the Void Proliferation Mother Tree, and Marquis of Zhujiang had also presented him with 10 million cosmic sand as a token of gratitude. That was all about relationships. Giving a quote of 1 billion cosmic sand to Yu Kingdom was a friendly price. Offering 2 billion cosmic sand to Heart Shadow Sect was also justified. If Heart Shadow Sect agreed to such a high price, and the news spread, Yu Kingdom would have nothing to say. After all, Luo Feng was giving them a half-price deal. I'm just an independent cultivator. Whoever gives the resources, I help them. I believe Elder Heart Eye can understand. Luo Feng looked at the other party. The conversation between Luo Feng and Elder Blind made the two disciples behind Elder Blind and Moyu Qingyang tremble with the thought of 2 billion cosmic sand. What a colossal fortune that was. Understood, even for disciples of our sect, obtaining resources is not easy, Elder Blind said. I have traveled the world challenging many mighty ones. With such strength as yours, I wonder if we could have a sparring match? A sparring match? Luo Feng nodded, sure. Elder Blind sensed the confidence in the other party and immediately nodded, I'll arrange a more spacious place. Let's just do it in my cave dwelling, Luo Feng said, it's just a sparring match, this place is big enough. I'm afraid that might damage your cave dwelling, Elder Blind added. No need to compensate if it gets damaged, Luo Feng said with a smile as he got up. The Lord is truly magnanimous. Elder Blind also stood up, and his two disciples and Moyu Qingyang at the side all became somewhat nervous. In an open area of Luo Feng's cave dwelling, Luo Feng and Elder Blind stood opposite each other at a distance. Morosa, Moyu Qingyang, and the two disciples of Heart Shadow Sect watched from the corners of the cave dwelling. Please, Luo Feng said with a smile, looking at the opponent. Elder Blind flipped his hand, and a black spike appeared. At first glance, the black spike looked quite ordinary, with a subdued luster, and no secret patterns could be seen. Since it was just a sparring match, neither side was burning their divine power, and their auras were very restrained. This Lord Luo he still wants to waver between the two forces, asking for 2 billion cosmic sand right off the bat. If he realizes the gap in our strength, he will be much more compliant, Elder Blind thought to himself. Be careful, Lord, Elder Blind said, as he thrust the black spike forward. With that thrust, he activated the realm of life and death that was already spread around them. Luo Feng's realm of life and death enveloped the entire cave dwelling, and as Elder Blind thrust his spike, the realm heavily obstructed his attack. The realm of life and death, a combination of 3 primal chaos realm techniques, appeared like a vast Tai Chi cloud formation upon manifestation, its rotation far more powerful than that of pure control primal chaos. Rip. Elder Blind's thrust forcibly penetrated the realm of life and death, tearing through it and sending shockwaves rolling, with the spike already reaching Luo Feng's robe. Luo Feng still stood unmoved, his robe surface displaying a layer of murky protecting robe, a synergy of the realm of life and death condensed with 2 techniques from the lore of primal chaos. These 5 techniques combined to form the chaotic protective robe. Though not as intricate as divine monarch Shuiyun's creation of the blood cloud great array from 9 techniques. But the realm of life and death, the chaotic protective robe, were just some of the techniques Luo Feng had managed to comprehend in the span of the 5 eras. Puff. The thrust, surprisingly, penetrated the murky protective robe on Luo Feng's skin. His skin, refined 3 times to achieve the perfect divine body, was finally pierced, showing a speck of blood. Elder Blind retreated instantly, somewhat in disbelief. Amazing, amazing. With just a casual stab, Elder Heart Eye managed to break through my domain and protective robe, even wounding me, Luo Feng exclaimed. Elder Blind felt the pressure. I have cultivated the Godly King level inheritance 6 Extremes of Destruction, which utilizes 7 primal chaos realm techniques. According to the inheritance, only after a complete integration can this stab be formed. Elder Blind was shocked internally. I have encountered those with unlimited godly bodies before, and this stab would have seriously wounded them. But facing Lord Luo He, it barely broke the skin. What seemed like a normal stab was indeed one of Elder Blind's lethal moves, famous in many regions. Divine Monarch, please try this move of mine, Elder Blind said, and right after speaking, his figure blurred in an instant. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. In a blink, he split into 13 figures, each making a strike, each seeming terrifyingly powerful, but when the 13 strikes merged, that's when the power truly shook the heavens and the earth. Boom tilde tilde tilde. This congealed black strike surprised even Luo Feng, indeed a disciple of a godly king sect. The technique is truly profound, forming a formation from numerous techniques to converge into a single, powerful strike. Relying on just a protective robe to withstand it isn't enough. I need to show some real skills now. Faced with this earth-shattering strike, Luo Feng extended his left hand. Boom! His arm expanded rapidly, and his palm grew even larger, as though covering the sky, with each of Luo Feng's 5 fingers containing dual-colored vortices, the entire palm like a chaotic universe. Boom tilde tilde tilde. The frightening strike collided with Luo Feng's palm, their forces annihilating and mercilessly grinding against each other. One side is Godly King level techniques recorded in the inheritance. The disciples merely need to cultivate step by step to continuously build their foundations and draw closer to the primal chaos realm. The other side, however, directly encountered the great Tao of life origin and the mysteries of destruction's origin, fusing both and integrating the understanding of primal chaos. This was also one of Luo Feng's 6 major killing techniques, the 10 Directions Annihilation Palm. If the world-breaking 9 Blades of the past was purely for defense, then this 10 Directions Annihilation Palm was for offense, and it involved combining 10 primal chaos realm techniques into one strike executed with a hand that had undergone 3 body refinements to attain a perfect divine body. One of Luo Feng's true killing techniques. Luo Feng still had to hold back his strength too much, and it would exceed the eternal true God domain. Luo Feng had long set standards for himself, not needing to hide his realm's accumulation since the outside world already considered him very close to the primal chaos realm. Still, the power of the perfect godly body needed to be restrained. Even reined in to the strength of an unlimited godly body, he was still suppressing Elder Blind. The 10 Directions Annihilation Palm, despite merging 10 techniques still being somewhat rough, was no less formidable than Elder Blind's killing formation. Boom tilde tilde tilde. That dreadful strike, under the crush of Luo Feng's massive palm, ultimately shattered and was completely obliterated. This scene shocked Elder Blind. This Luo He is an unlimited godly body of the law lineage. And his realm's accumulation even surpasses mine. Elder Blind confirmed this instantly. If he were part of the bloodline cultivation system, such accumulation might have already led him to the primal chaos realm. Elder Heart Eye's formation technique is quite powerful, Luo Feng praised. I was even forced to use my ultimate technique. Elder Heart Eye, do you have any more moves? No need to continue comparing, I'm indeed inferior to Lord Luo He, Elder Blind spoke. This sparring truly broadened my horizons. Lord Luo He, I shall take my leave first. And I will relay the hiring price you mentioned to the sect leader. All right, Luo Feng nodded with a smile. Elder Blind turned and swiftly left with 2 disciples. This battle had kept the cave dwelling encapsulated by the realm of life and death, and since Elder Blind had not burned his divine power and had intentionally restricted the range, the cave mansion was still in relatively good condition. Only the empty space where the fight took place had pits and uneven ground. Sigh. With a thought, the ground quickly repaired itself. Master, this Elder Heart Eye is quite strong, Morosa spoke, should be somewhat stronger than Shuiyun. Shuiyun's formations are rather rough, whereas Elder Heart Eye's moves are more naturally powerful and superior. Luo Feng nodded, unmistakably a godly king tier sect. Although he himself had inheritances from 2 godly king lineages. Unfortunately, his master, mountain-sitting guest, was an artifact refining godly king and did not leave him any suitable godly king inheritances. The 3rd-generation forefather of the Duandong River lineage did leave behind 3 supportive godly king-level inheritances, Duan Mie, Dong Hua, and Undying River. No way around it. Both his master and the 3rd-generation forefather had just stepped into the godly king tier. This is why they met such fates, one fleeing into the universe ocean, the other dying completely. Power is the foundation. Elder Heart Eye, how did it go with your visit to Lord Luo He? Asked the master of the Heartshadow sect, who had just returned from visiting the Flame-Wind Pavilion. I heard that you sparred with him. I asked him not to interfere, and he asked for a hiring price of 2 billion cosmic sand. Elder Blind frowned as he spoke, so we had to go with the backup plan, sparring to put some pressure on him. But in this exchange, his godly body is stronger than mine, and even his realm is stronger. Master Fengyuchi of the Heartshadow sect couldn't help saying, both of our forefathers said that with your deep accumulation, Elder Heart Eye, just a little chance could lead to a breakthrough. His realm is actually higher than yours. While it's somewhat higher, ultimately, it's within the same tier, said Elder Blind. Once I command the disciples and wield the mechanical flow secret treasure heart devil kite, I can match that Luo He. Originally, the divine monarch who established the Heartshadow sect crafted 13 mechanical flow secret treasures according to their inheritances, to serve as hereditary treasures of the sect. But over the long years, only 7 of these mechanical heritage secret treasures remain, with the heart devil kite being one of them. A divine monarch establishing a sect left many means behind. But with continual decline, the Heartshadow sect's methods are becoming fewer. This was just a spar. I didn't use my secret technique of willpower shadowless stab, which is my strongest move. Elder Blind said, once it's used, it's no longer a spar but a fight for life and death. The master of the Heartshadow sect and Elder Blind met, and soon the meeting of elders was convened. I brought gifts to visit the master of the Flame-Wind Pavilion, and everything went smoothly. Fengyuchi, the Heartshadow sect leader, said with a radiant smile. The Flame-Wind Pavilion has always acted consistently. As long as they are not offended, they won't intervene in war. This was within their expectations. Not intervening in the conflicts of various nations was a rule set by the headquarters of the Flame-Wind Pavilion, and branch leaders would not dare to breach it lightly. If the Flame-Wind Pavilion were to intervene, there must be a sufficient reason, and it must be confirmed by the headquarters. How did it go when Elder Heart Eye visited Lord Luo He? An elder asked, which was their most pressing concern. Did he agree not to intervene? He did not agree, Elder Blind said. He did not agree. The other elders were somewhat annoyed. We have already shown him enough respect, and is still ready to take action against us at any moment. This Luo He is a variable. I think we should join forces to deal with Luo He before the army of the Marquis of Zhujiang arrives, another elder suggested. It's easy for our entire sect to defeat him, but an eternal true god of his realm is unfathomable and has extremely strong survival skills. He might slip away quietly. Once he escapes, he really becomes a deadly enemy. Instead, we would be pushing him to the side of the Marquis of Zhujiang. The elders discussed animatedly. Elder Blind nodded and added, the power of our Heartshadow sect is enough to defeat any eternal true god, but we're not sure we can kill him. Then what do we do? Just watch. If a war really breaks out in the future, his involvement will be a big problem. The elders were also worried. A stab in the back from him at a critical moment would be a major issue. This Lord Luo, he said, he's a freelance cultivator, and he will help whoever hires him, Elder Blind stated. But he's very greedy. He has quoted a mercenary price of a full 200 million cosmic sand. 200 million cosmic sand? He's crazy. Who does he think he is? The elders could not accept such a price. Elder Blind continued, since he's asking for such a high price from us, he must have also quoted the Marquis of Zhujiang a high price. That's probably why the Marquis has not agreed to it yet. If he had, he would have likely entered the city owner's mansion already. The sect leader of Heart Shadow smiled. Rest assured, everyone, such a greedy person will not make a move easily without a sufficient price. Even if he does make a move in the future, Elder Heart Eye leading our disciples to control the Heart Devil Kite is enough to deal with him. Controlling the Heart Devil Kite is enough to handle him, Elder Blind agreed. He admitted that Luo his realm was slightly higher than his, but he practiced the Godly King level Dharma 6 extremes of destruction, and coupled with the mechanical flow secret treasure the Heart Devil Kite, he could easily handle Lord Luo he after a full-powered boost. That's good to hear. As long as Elder Heart Eye controls the Heart Devil Kite and entangles Luo he, there will no longer be any powerful individuals under the Marquis of Zhujiang for us to be wary of, the elders were quite confident. After all, in the Yu Kingdom, there were only a handful of eternal true gods on par with Lord Luo he. Knowing that Lord Luo he hasn't sided with the Marquis of Zhujiang for now is good news, said the sect leader of Heart Shadow. Now let's move on to the next step of the plan. In Huyang City, above the Primal Chaos Armor sector, several huge flying boats and numerous super-large mechanical stream secret treasures suddenly headed towards the cave mansions of the 5 great families. What's happening? The Heart Shadow sect has arrived. The members of the 5 great families had already been uneasy, but the core members of the families had already moved to the city owner's mansion as the first action, only leaving behind a large number of ordinary family members of lower status. These ordinary family members accounted for over 99% of the family population, making it troublesome to relocate. Even when the family leaders gave orders, the execution would be sluggish. The cave mansion of the Tsuman clan now belongs to our Heart Shadow sect, boomed a powerful voice from 10 super-large mechanical secrets treasures hovering in the air, sweeping over the entire cave mansion. All creatures inside the cave mansion must leave. After 100 breaths, any creature still inside will not be spared. We are part of the royal family. How dare you seize the cave mansion of our Tsuman clan? Some of the family members were used to arrogance and dared to berate even the Heart Shadow sect. But the vast majority of family members quickly packed up some belongings and frantically rushed out of the cave mansion. In a conflict between 2 nations, who would care about the insignificant members of the royal family's fringe branches? The Moli clan, move out quickly. The cave mansion of the Jiang family now belongs to our Heart Shadow sect. The Wu family. The Meiwu clan. The Heart Shadow sect did not care about the backgrounds of the others, they seized the cave mansions directly. The fact that they didn't proceed to slaughter was already showing restraint. Under the threat of death, the 5 great families almost completely evacuated their cave mansions within 100 breaths, save for a very few foolish and stubborn individuals who still remained inside. I am a member of the royal family. How dare you, Heart Shadow sect, kill me? Those few foolish and arrogant individuals silently turned to dust under an invisible force, and none was spared. The descendants of the royal family had proliferated for countless years and had become too numerous to count. Many branches were settled in remote cities, and their status was not as elevated as they believed. In the land of origin, only the core and elite members of some big clans held a higher status. The members of the 5 great families have all come to the city owner's mansion, the Lord of Huyang City said, looking at the other 4 clan leaders. The city owner's mansion needs to reserve a large space for war, and cannot accommodate so many family members. For the time being, let them stay temporarily in the cave mansions and secret treasures, Mo Li Xiao suggested. We have no other choice, agreed the leaders of the other 3 great families. A comfortable residence for the core members of the family is enough, while common clansmen may first take shelter in the cave mansion's secret treasures. Thus, the common clansmen of the 5 great families, having just entered the city owner's mansion, were ordered to enter the cave mansion's secret treasures according to their ranks to temporarily reside there. They had no choice but to obey the orders from the family's higher-ups. Now, in the entire Primal Chaos Armor sector, only Lord Luo his cave mansion remains unoccupied, said the Lord of Huyang City, and not long ago, we detected powerful energy fluctuations coming from Lord Luo his cave mansion. Did the Heart Shadow sect recruit Luo He? The leaders of several families worriedly inquired. Hiring Luo He is very expensive. The Lord of Huyang City immediately reached out to contact Luo Feng. Luo Feng sat atop a mountain within the cave mansion, leisurely drinking wine, observing the ever-changing situation in the Primal Chaos Armor sector. The once high and mighty 5 great families had now been forcibly evicted from their cave mansions, and the few clansmen who dared to stay had been reduced to dust. When your background matters, your background is of use. When it doesn't, what can you do? Luo Feng pondered. The so-called background, the so-called dignity, ultimately needed to be supported by strength. Like the Flame-Wind Pavilion, even a minor branch would cause 2 warring nations to make way. Brother Luo He, the Lord of Huyang City, suddenly reached out. City Lord, what brings you to contact me all of a sudden? Luo Feng replied. Recently, powerful energy fluctuations were detected from Brother Luo his cave mansion. Did the Heart Shadow sect visit you? Asked the Lord of Huyang City. Lord Luo his strength. The difference between being recruited by the Heart Shadow sect or the city owner's mansion was significant. It could mean the equivalent of having 2 Lord Luo his. It was Elder Heart Eye from the Heart Shadow sect who came to visit, and we briefly sparred, Luo Feng communicated. Oh, and how did the spar go? The Lord of Huyang City was very interested, as he was well aware of Elder Heart Eye's strength. He is indeed quite strong, Luo Feng communicated, stronger than Shui Yun. The Lord of Huyang City's interest peaked, sensing Luo Feng's implication, and responded, Brother Luo he can kill Shui Yun, so if it's one-on-one, could you also kill this Elder Heart Eye? I hear he can control one of the Heart Shadow sect's 13 mechanical treasures, the Heart Devil Kite. If he operates it, I can only suppress him at most, and will not be able to kill him, replied Luo Feng. The Lord of Huyang City was inwardly shocked. Elder Heart Eye controlling the Heart Devil Kite, yet Luo he claimed he could suppress it. Didn't it mean that he could restrain even more of the Heart Shadow sect's forces? The Heart Shadow sect visited me because they too wish to hire me, Luo Feng communicated. You know, a free cultivator like me cares most about resources. But I also have a deep bond with you kingdom, so I quoted a hiring price of 2 billion cosmic sand. Brother Luo he is truly forthcoming. The price you've given us is far lower than what the Heart Shadow sect offered, lauded the Lord of Huyang City. Even if he thought the price of 1 billion cosmic sand was high, he still flattered Luo Feng. At this time, whichever side Lord Luo he supports would greatly influence the battle situation. I will report this to the Marquis, and I believe there will be a result from his end very soon. The Lord of Huyang City also soothed Luo Feng. After the communication ended, Luo Feng held his wine jug. It seems my quote was a bit high, both sides haven't agreed, Luo Feng thought. This spar should have proven my worth. Whether Marquis of Zhujiang or Marquis Liu Yin rules the Primal Chaos Prefecture, they must ensure the safety of the city's citizens. Thus, the citizens would continually pay the residence fee. Who wins, who loses? Luo Feng couldn't care less. Unless the offer was abundant. If I could get 1 billion cosmic sand, that should help me reach the Primal Chaos realm faster, Luo Feng thought. The children of big families would naturally have resources poured into them if they were sufficiently talented. He had no choice, he had to earn every resource himself. Inside a hall in Zhujiang City, Marquis of Zhujiang sat alone on his throne, his silver hair cascading over his shoulders, each strand causing disturbances in the void. Marquis Liu Yin actually sent assassins from the Heart Shadow sect. Even if he manages to take away my Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture, he'll have to share a portion with the Heart Shadow sect. The Marquis of Zhujiang's gaze grew even colder. It seems he's determined to take Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture this time. This is my fiefdom. My cultivation resources. The space around Marquis of Zhujiang twisted as he continued. You, Marquis Liu Yin, are hell-bent on seizing my fiefdom? Judging from all sides, your strength is indeed greater than mine. But the real fight is not determined by superficial information. The Marquis of Zhujiang had been very patient. The two neighboring primal chaos prefectures were constantly provoked by Marquis Liu Yin's side, and he had been enduring. But now the enemies had sent the Heart Shadow sect to invade the large city, Huyang City, and if he continued to endure, aside from Zhujiang City, he feared that the rest would be occupied. I have summoned all the elite forces of Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture to Huyang City, but my elites alone are no match for the Heart Shadow sect. Marquis of Zhujiang was well aware of this. At the level of eternal true God, his forces indeed could not compare with the Heart Shadow sect. In terms of numbers, they were close, but in quality, they were significantly weaker. After all, the majority of eternal true gods in Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture cultivated much inferior dharma compared to those of the Heart Shadow sect. Plus, various sect-defending treasures left by the godly king of the Heart Shadow sect also significantly enhanced the disciples' strength. That Luo he wants 1 billion cosmic sand? He sure dares to ask. Marquis of Zhujiang was also troubled. Let's first try to get a few eternal true gods from the royal capital. As for Luo, let's wait and see how the situation unfolds. He had already prepared 1 billion cosmic sand, actively inviting the strongest eternal true gods from the royal capital, but it was uncertain how many would come. This video will end here.